I'll hop on here straight after the game. Arsenal just beat Southampton 3-0 at home, which was a really, really needed confidence booster for Arteta and his young guns. But yeah, the beginning of the game was a little frustrating. And I guess when you're watching the game and you're in it, it's a little bit easy to forget that these are human beings and they come in with some psychological baggage from previous games, from the week in training and all of that kind of stuff. And some of them are also playing through injuries. And those of us who've played sports, you'll know, even though I never played pro, but you're always carrying something. So I'll excuse the first 20 minutes or so because those 20 minutes were really infuriating, and we could have been punished by Southampton had they been a little bit more ruthless with their point of being in an advantageous territorially, and also just like psychologically, they seemed a little stronger than us from the jump. And if they could have found a killer punch or two, then maybe we would have been 2-0 down at 20-minute mark, because we Arsenal didn't start the game very well, and we struggled to come out. I mean, the first 10 minutes we were struggling to come out, and all the way into the 18th, 20th minute or so when we scored the goal, like early in the 20s. That was the first time, and even the goal itself was actually a lot of risk involved. But it was one of those things like, okay, it's high risk but also high reward. And we got the highest of high rewards from the bravery we showed in that play. It looked a little dicey, and to be quite honest, if Arsenal are going to look to score that goal every time we're trying to score a goal, then we're going to end up with less than one goal a match. Which is not going to help us in our goal difference. So good on us that we've been this season better at set pieces. I think only West Ham has scored more goals in set pieces than Arsenal, and we scored one today again from set pieces, and we looked really dangerous in the set pieces. So moving on to like the positive side of the game, we looked great. I mean, Martinelli's crossing from set pieces was awesome. Saka has been awesome from set pieces throughout the year, and when Smith Rowe plays as well, crossing in and from the corners, and then obviously Odegaard as well gets to cross in a few. When he has an opportunity, usually from free kicks, Odegaard is more involved. And from corners, it's usually Saka on the in swinger on the right hand side, and Smith Rowe's in swinging right footer on the left hand side. But today that was Martinelli, who had a good game as well. So Arsenal won this game because we survived that 20-minute storm. But then once we did, and playing through Southampton's press that one time, and for once not looking clueless once we reach halfway point, Tomiyasu slides Saka through, who then just beelines for the Southampton box, and then finds a late arriving Lacazette for what is one of Arsenal's best goals this season. I would say they've scored a few good ones. So I remember a couple against Tottenham too, but this was right up there. This was right up there, and I think the key player in all of this is Aaron Ramsdale. Aaron Ramsdale is a thinker of football in ways that I don't see a lot of other goalkeepers do. Obviously, the Manchester guy and the Liverpool guy, they do it too. And Neuer and that kind of goalkeeper who really sets the deck for his team and then starts the move. And he's done that a few times, and today he was really instrumental in that. I would say he had a better distribution, passing game, and influence on the game than either of his two center halves in terms of the way he was threading passes and picking the right pass at the right moment to make the most hurtful decision. Be interesting to hear what the talk is like between him and the tactical teams in the tactical sessions, because he's an instigator, and I think if teams don't close him down, he'll make a mistake, like everybody does. But my goodness, when he has time on the ball, he's ruthless and he's dangerous with it. And that allowed us to get through the midfield and bypass the midfield and play a little bit higher up the pitch, because he was, picking the right pass, which would allow the corridor for the next play. I'm saying that because like Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey were not bad. They were not bad, but they didn't like really even. I would say, I mean, they were cool heads in the midfield, but like they didn't have like an outstanding game. They had a good game. Same thing with Gabriel, who I was nervous about when he got the yellow card within the first 3 minutes. He steadied on and got his goal, and then thank goodness he was then pulled off by Arteta because Southampton on the counter attack. Southampton at home last year, Gabriel dragged Theo Walcott, who was almost through on goal at the halfway line, and Gabriel was sent off. And I don't think we could afford losing Gabriel before the West Ham game coming up, and then Leeds the following weekend. So really good performances by Ramsdale, the Tomiyasu. He's proving a lot of really, really good. He's proving to be a good signing with his forward play. I know he's a defender first, and I think it's good to have a right back who's a defender first, almost like Bakary Sagna. But this guy definitely is developing a really good relationship with Martin Odegaard and Bukayo Saka on that right-hand side. And his contribution in that first goal should not be overlooked. Almost had a goal of his own from one of the set pieces from a header. And then the next guy I want to give a shout out to is Odegaard. 3 goals in 3. There were good performances from some of the other players too, but like these guys stood out in terms of like knitting the play with Ramsdale. So Odegaard was really, really good in patches in this game, and he was good at Goodison Park too. I would say he was one of Arsenal's best players before Edin Ketia came on going forward. But in this game, he was a lot more consistent, and it was really, really awesome to see. And I would say Bukayo Saka was involved in all the really good things. Unfortunate not to get a goal of his own. Hit the post one time, and he was involved, obviously, in creating the first goal. Involved in a lot of really good things that happened in that game for Arsenal moving forward. So